Now, in place of the interview with Winnie Mandela, which will be broadcast at a later date, Darcus Howe tonight challenges Chris Eubank.
First, his merits have to survive a critical examination by Darcus Howe, the devil's advocate.
Chris Eubank has a case to answer. I am the devil's advocate, and tonight he's going to answer to me. I want to tell you the stories of two young men.
Now, in place of the interview with Winnie Mandela, which will be broadcast at a later date, Darcus Howe tonight challenges Chris Eubank.
Chris Eubank is one of the world's top boxers. Just 26 years old, he's risen from humble roots in Peckham to become the world super middleweight boxing champion and a self-made millionaire. But this year, the public saw a new side to Chris Eubank's character. After the brutal murder of 14-year-old Benji Stanley from the Moss Side district of Manchester, Benji's death touched a nerve and drew national attention to the escalating violence on Moss Side. Chris Eubank stepped into the spotlight, set up a special training camp in Moss Side, and offered himself as a positive role model for the local youths. But is Chris Eubank the role model that Moss Side needs? First, his merits have to survive a critical examination by Darcus Howe, the devil's advocate.
Chris Eubank has a case to answer. I am the devil's advocate, and tonight he's going to answer to me. I want to tell you the stories of two young men, Chris Eubank and Benji Stanley. Both are black, both are young, and both grew up in Britain's rundown inner cities. Chris Eubank was born in Peckham in 1966. His parents divorced when he was 8 years old, and his mother went off to the Bronx. The young Chris was a problem child. He shoplifted and was suspended from school all of 18 times. Finally, he was expelled and sent to a special school in North Wales. At the age of 14, he left to live with his mother in the Bronx. It was here that he took up boxing. He started as a professional boxer in 1985 and developed a reputation for arrogance both inside and outside the ring. He describes himself as simply the best. And indeed, his unbeaten 35-fight career has brought him 3 world championships and purses estimated at over £3 million. Benji Stanley, on the other hand, was born in 1978 and lived with his adopted parents in Moss Side. He returned to set up a training camp at the Moss Side Leisure Center. Each day, 40 to 50 members of the public paid the 50p admission fee. The proceeds to go to local projects. On January 16th, in addition to the training camp, he joined the demonstration against violence on Moss Side. On January the 19th, he left Moss Side. His training camp had raised around £200. He added another £2,000, which had been paid to him by the Daily Mirror, and donated the lot to community projects. And after his recent fight, he made this plea to John Major on national television.
Let me do something, because I promised some people I would do this. Mr. Prime Minister, please, can you allocate more funds to the inner cities? These kids ain't got nothing else to do but go to crime.
Now, this is all highly laudable, but I want to examine if Chris Eubank went about achieving his own goals in the right way. For example, I'm concerned about the way that he barged into Moss Side. At no time did he seek the advice of the council, member of parliament, or local community. Then there's the attitude that he displayed whilst he was in Moss Side, which seems arrogant beyond belief even by his own standards. For example, whilst on Moss Side, he said to a reporter, "Hero, go and look it up in a dictionary and you'll see a picture of me." And finally, but much more importantly, I'm deeply troubled by the actual message that Chris Eubank took to Moss Side. By his own admission, the only reason that Chris Eubank boxes at all is for money. He once said as follows, "I hate boxing, but it's the only way to finance my lifestyle." To put it another way, the pursuit of money is everything. There are many on Moss Side who would agree with him, but they also know that only a handful at most have any hope of legitimately achieving Chris Eubank's level of success, whereas many of them can make his sort of money through crime. So I believe that Chris Eubank's peace mission to Moss Side failed to achieve the aims that he set for it, while still the message that he offered could turn out to be totally counterproductive. That is my contention, and in a moment I'm going to test it on Chris Eubank. But first I want to speak to Hartley Henley about the significance of Benji's death. Now, Hartley, why was there such a strong reaction?
For our community in Moss Side, we've always been concerned about the deaths of every one of our young people. I think Benji's death was significant to the extent that people said we cannot continue to watch our young people, our future, disappear and die. We cannot allow and continue to allow parents to be burying their children. And therefore we decided that not only did we have to actually say enough's enough, but the very small elements within our community, we had to say to them that you're part of our problem, not part of our solution. And therefore Benji's death was about a number of things, not just about being there to support Denise and Junior, but was also saying loudly that this community cares and wants to do something itself.
How serious are the problems, and why is it so serious?
I think we have to look at other factors. You've heard about deprivation, single parent, lack of opportunity, lack of unemployment. Yes, they're factors, but there are other factors as well within our community, which is to do with the racism which is endemic within this society. It's ironic, for example, that we're here to put Chris Eubank in a hot seat. It's sad that black people, having been in this country for 400 years, we still have one Chris Eubank around.
Chris Livingston Eubank, why did you go?
Why did I go? Okay, I had a press conference in London. It was my first press conference at the start of the year. The press who turned up expected to hear of my ambitions, of what my achievements, or what I hoped my achievements would be in '93. I said, more importantly, my New Year's resolution is to promote good. It was then suggested by the press who were there, why don't you go to Moss Side? Never did I envision all this publicity stunt type of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would come out of it. And it wouldn't have stopped me anyway. I still would have done it.
Well, what concerns me, Chris, is this. You said that the press encouraged you to go. Why didn't you hold your horses a bit and say, well, I need to consult people in Moss Side because people live there. They have been trying to do this and that for a considerable period of time. Why didn't you consult them?
I work on impulse. I work on impulse. Is this not good? I work on impulse. If someone says something, if the idea is good, I go with it. I work in this sport I'm in, the business that I'm in, is singular. I depend on myself. So I don't think team. I think me, and I go and I do. That's if I did consider, okay, then maybe, not maybe, definitely I would have combined with the community, but I didn't think. And the fact that I didn't think, I don't see that as a mistake. Still, the message was good, it was constructive, it was positive, it was correct, it was right. The message was right, because the message was, do good, be good. There's nothing wrong in that.
Okay. Let me, I have to put to you, because I'm being rigorous, some of the criticisms that have been laid at your door. You go to Manchester and you walk in Ducey's school without prior consultation with the headmistress.
Can I just stop you
No,
there?
wait, I'll give you a quote. We weren't expecting him. He sailed into my study. That's a quote from the headmistress, straight into a school, which is a highly disciplined area, or ought to be. You walk in there unannounced, sail into her study, say, I'm Chris Eubank, I'm here on impulse. You think that was, you think people tolerate that?
No, I don't. And
You think they should?
that is not the way it happened.
But how it happened, tell me.
Okay, we went into the school. This is what I understood from the newspaper people. There was one fellow from the Manchester Evening
News, yeah.
News. He was organizing everything. He said that none of these two schools would have you come if there was going to be media attention around it. So we had to give an hour notice, 1 hour notice. That's what I understood, and I went along with it.
I'll tell you something. My mother is a headmistress. Very strict one. She's retired now, but if you had sailed into her study, you would have been sailing out pronto.
Then to that,
She wouldn't have allowed you to disrupt her school in that way.
I would say to, listen, understand, right? It was planned for me to actually go to this school. Okay. Why she would have said that, I have no idea. I haven't spoken to her.
Let's see what some of the consequences were. The only major consequence I could see from your visit was £2,000, which the Daily Mirror had to pay you for the facility of being around you, and you gave that to the local community. I mean, you are a millionaire. Why didn't you put your hands in your own pocket?
Okay, you know, we're missing the point here. It's sad because if we have television time here, I didn't put my hand in my own pocket. I work, my deeds are with my frame of mind and what I say. What I earn is mine. That's business. And from the press point of view, it would have been scorned upon if I would have taken money out of my pocket. And it doesn't matter whether I have £10 billion, it will never solve the problem. You have to solve the problem with understanding. You have to talk, and people have to incorporate the understanding. I went and I spoke the good word. That's it. That's all. That is all I'm going to do. I will not put my hand in my pocket. It's far more beneficial for me to speak the correct words, the words of which the teachers and the parents are saying to the youngsters, do good. Strive for excellence in your chosen field.
What does this do good mean? You keep repeating it. What does it mean?
It means when you stand, you must stand good. When you walk, you must walk good. When you think, you must think good. You must be good. When you shake hands, you shake hand good. You do your job. You do it good. You don't turn up late.
No.
you turn up on time.
Yeah.
When you leave, you don't leave early.
Yeah.
You leave on time.
Yes, yes.
You're good. You promote good. Be considerate. Do good. Be good.
Now, one of the things about being good is to speak good, you see. Speak good. I don't know. I'm coming to see whether or not this is good speech or not. If this is something you recommend. You turn to a reporter, you say hero. Go and look it up in a dictionary and you'll see a picture of me.
I did say that.
That
yes.
is not modest, is it?
I am not modest.
Oh.
I am not modest. Let me tell you, right? Now, here I am in this world, and I've strived hard to do what I've got to do, and still they won't give me my acclaim, my proper acclaim. Not to say that I want it. I have self-gratification.
But do you think you are a hero?
I have self-gratification by what the word actually means. I don't see many other out there. I'm not doing the wrong thing. I'm doing the right thing. I'm promoting good, and I'm achieving excellence in my chosen profession.
Let me ask you something else. Let me ask you something else. You know role models. You live your life and people decide that you are a role model. You don't go around saying you are one. You got it the other way around.
If you have a platform in society, okay, I can be a role model on a small scale, which means if I'm not in the public eye, then everywhere I go and everything I do with the people I meet, I can promote good. That makes me a role model of a sort, like a father would be a role model for his son or daughter. Yeah. Okay, I have a platform here in society. The television camera is on me. What I do influences other people. What I say may influence youngsters and other people. Okay, so regardless of whether I like it or not, I am a role model. Now,
they may ignore you.
Am I a good one? Yes, I am.
They may ignore you.
I would say, she says I'm wrong. I'm not a role model. I would say I'm one of the very best.
All right. All right. Okay, Chris, let me come to, let me challenge that a bit then. Let me challenge that a bit. I'm very concerned about your attitude to money. And I want to give you a quote here made at your fight camp in Peckham in February of '93. If I can fight dead people for money, I will.
I did say that.
Most boxers are businessmen now and no longer in it for the sport, but for the money. Now, is that an attitude to implant into the minds of young people?
My explanation is this, okay. In this world, we all are looking for freedom. Is this right? Yeah. Okay. Freedom in this society happens to be money. Is that right? No. Okay. No. Okay, so then, okay, absolutely not. You're going to have to give me some time here because I'll have to convert them. It won't take me very long. Okay, hold on. Money is freedom, okay? I want freedom. I don't want to be bondaged by what society wants me to do. So the way I can do as I please is by earning money. So then I don't have to do what this person says to earn a living, to feed my children, to feed myself. If I don't want to be in the cold weather, I can go to a hot country. So I can dress the way I want to dress, so I can drive in the type of car I want to drive in. So I can be what I want to be.
You know that is precisely what someone who is involved in crime in Mossad would say?
Yes.
He would say, I only did it for the money.
Of course. Now, listen.
And wanting to be free.
There is an explanation. You must listen, right? And the simple explanation is, don't take it the wrong way, do it the right way. The man who takes it the wrong way is stupid. He'll end up in jail or he'll end up in the graveyard. Don't take it the wrong way. You will not have any self-gratification if you take it the wrong way. Do it the right way. The man who takes it, the man who works for it and does it the correct way, he's the good man, he's the right man. He's the street term, he's the bad dude. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm coming at you again. Listen to this.
Sure.
You say, I am qualified as a secretary. Your quote. But I could never have done that. I think the routine of 9 to 5 stinks. So that somebody who is doing it the right way by going to work from 9 to 5, you think that stinks? Then you would fight a dead person for money? I mean, well, what side are you on?
Well, let me talk. Okay?
What about the person who works in
the person who works the 9 to 5. Listen, I say be legal. The person who works the 9 to 5. Why don't you ask them if their job stinks? Dear, I am far from stupid.
No, he's not. Please, please.
Okay.
Please, I won't have that.
Okay,
Go on, Chris.
let me carry on to say.
Stupid, no.
Of course not.
This guy did maybe. Go on. On the question of 9 to 5.
Okay. The person who's subjected to that 9 to 5 having to deal with orders, I don't believe they like that. They do it because they have to, because they have to feed themselves. And that's why they do it. We all have to work, okay? What I say is do what you have to do, but be legal, okay? Don't do it the wrong way. You'll end up in jail. You'll end up, you're wrong. You ain't going to live a good life if you're wrong. To cut a long story short, okay, I'm glad I'm in the business that I'm in because it does earn me the type of money it does, even though I dislike the business of what I do. But it earns me the type of money I need to free myself from the bondage and the suppression of society.
You're a very fortunate black person. You're one
Fortunate?
of the very, very,
Hold on. Don't
very few.
Don't call me
able to do
fortunate.
it.
I've paid my price to
Okay.
get where I am. Do you understand? No one gave me anything for free.
I know that.
Okay.
Could I invite you to sit to take the last question?
Yeah.
Which is this. And I'm not putting it to you with any spite or malice, but I have to put it to you because
Please
it
do.
was said by some very strident voices in Moss Side. They said this was all a publicity stunt to beef up your image just before a fight. And it had absolutely nothing to do with sincerity or commitment of any kind. What say you?
One, this type of frame of mind is contemptible. Two, and I put it to you in your favor, okay? Or the people who have this type of frame of mind, I put it to you in your favor. If it was a publicity stunt, then it was a bloody good one because no one else is doing this job which needs to be done.
Thank you, Chris Eubank. That's the end of round one, and I'm still on my feet. After the break, I'll be taking further evidence from some other interested parties, and Chris Eubank will have an opportunity to respond again. Welcome back. I have been sparring with Chris Eubank about his recent trip to Moss Side. In part one, Chris has answered some of my questions. Now I'm going to hear evidence from some other interested parties. I'd like to go first to Tony Lloyd. You are Tony Lloyd. You are a member of Parliament for the constituency in which Moss Side is based. What complaints, if any, do you have about the way in which his visit to Moss Side was organized?
Well, I think what I'd like to put across to Chris is this, is that many people on the day of the march in commemoration of Benji Stanley saw something that was very good that had come from within that community, which was going to receive national news in its own right, and it had come from ordinary people, seeming to be hijacked when Chris Eubank appeared on TV that night, and it was Chris Eubank and Moss Side. And that was very destructive for that community, many people felt. But can I then go on and say this, is that I changed my mind quite a bit after Chris's last fight, when he made some very positive comments at the end of that fight. What I would say to him is this, is that if he's sincere in that, he's got to keep on saying those things. Now, what I must say as well is it isn't enough just to say that stick by the straight and narrow and you can earn money, because there are big temptations in drug money in that kind of community.
It's not straight and narrow, though.
No, we've got to build a better future for those kids. Now, if Chris Eubank is going to come again and again to Moss Side and say to those kids he's prepared to work with them and build a better future, then of course then that's welcome. But if it's just a one-off thing, then it's not good for young people, it's not good for that community.
Now tell me, my friend, there appears to be some reservation about the trip to Moss Side and how it was organized. Have you taken that on board in the light of what's been said?
In the light of what's been said, in future, whenever I'm going to do this type of thing again, I will first get counseling. Because I didn't realize so much, negativeness could come out of it. And no, because I'm an impulse guy.
Are you prepared to make your criticisms here?
Yes, sure.
Go on.
I was worried, I had several misgivings altogether. It was when you went to the pirate radio stations and things like that, people that I know are saying, yeah, that's great. A person that we can identify with, taking the trouble to come down and to be with us here, that's great. But then the other aspect that I would criticise is your idea of a role model, which is something that is achieved so much materially. And it's linking in with the Thatcher years, and I'm going to be political in that sense. And that's a problem to our people. It carries on the same thing that we've heard being said, that our young people then want that same money. And it's not about free. There are many, many people that are free. I know white people are more free than black people, but at the same, in terms of money and things like that. But at the same time, there are many, many people that are free, that are getting on with living a fulfilled life without the sort of money that you're talking about.
That's Father Phil Sumner. He is a parish priest in Moss Side. Is that right? Chris, how do you respond?
I am a victim of what I've seen going on here in society. Television, 90% of it is all smiles, it's all material, it's all good lifestyle, walk tall and, nice clothes. I want that, okay? I'm militant in that way, but I'm militant in the right way. I'm going to get it the correct way. I'm not going to steal, I'm not going to step on anybody's toes to get it. I'm going to get it legally, so I don't have to look behind my back.
I want to go to Phil Martin, who is in your profession. He produces first-class boxers. He has his organization, his Moss Side, and he works consistently at it. Phil, do you share all of Chris's positions?
A lot of what he says makes sense, but he just doesn't seem to put it in the right order. I think when he's talking about, for instance, I think he makes mistakes. I mean, he's talking about the 9-to-5 job. He doesn't want to do a 9-to-5 job. He wants to be a master of his own destiny, as I would see that. He's come up from the street. You said before yourself that he had a really rough life, okay? He's had nothing, like a lot of the kids in Moss Side, okay? And other areas. And he's struggled off his own back. No one's helped him. He's become a world champion, yeah? He's made tremendous success of his life.
No question about it.
Okay, now, I think that a bit of credit should be given to the lad.
Paul Taylor, what do you say? You're a teacher?
A school teacher.
And you are running a project as a result of the money?
No. What it is, we're holding a conference on rites of passage. We're looking at the effects that have happened to black children over hundreds of years. Chris came into the school. I heard he was there. I went down, and while he was speaking, I asked him, would he be willing to direct some money to us? He said he'd direct money to us, and he did that. Oh. Now, can I just say one thing as well? Most official funding agencies that we have approached have said there's no money for us.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he has come and put his neck out. He's stuck his neck out, right or wrong. I don't agree with his personal politics. However, what I'm saying, he has done that. Like he said, the last comment before the break, where are all the other people?
Let me go to a role model that you may think he's not. Peter Herbert is the head of the Society of Black Lawyers, the chairman. He's a distinguished lawyer. You've heard that he's achieved, he likes publicity and he says the wrong things, but really he's a good fellow. What say you?
I think one's got to look very carefully at where Chris is coming from and what he's saying, what his message is and the effect of it. In a sense, I think a lot of people don't doubt that the motives may well be genuine, but you do not dare to go into a black community and say race is not an issue. You do not dare to go into a black community without consulting the family of the people who've been killed. And if that does happen, and you then say that money is your God, effectively, and money is a way out for black people to achieve their freedom, then you're living in a dream world. And the relevance that Muhammad Ali and people like that had for me as a child were because they were excellent in their sport and excellent in their black consciousness and their mind. When you learn that, and when you apply it with the community, and when you actually do put some money out of your own pocket into the community, then that community will respect you to the highest degree.
Okay, Chris, Do you take that on board?
Oh yeah, please.
Okay.
This is the very best. Now, maybe I am light years ahead of my time, because for me, I refuse to see colour.
You refuse
to the black youth?
Develop that.
To the black youth, to the
What
ethnic.
do you call him black if you don't see colour? I'm sorry.
No, okay, I understand. Okay, life is full of contradictions. This is what I say to the youngsters, okay? Let me just say it directly. Right, for the youngsters out there, refuse to see colour. If you are discriminated against, find another way to get in legally. Don't walk with a chip on your shoulder about what's being done. I've always refused to see colour. It's that way I haven't stayed down there in the rut. You have an attitude problem when you see colour. Okay.
Hartley, you from Mossad?
I just wanted to say, Chris, that a lot of the young people that I know who got involved in crime did it the right way. I bullied a lot of those young people to go on a range of government schemes. They've been on a lot of those schemes doing it the right way. And what they used to see going across their community is lots of, okay, you don't mention colour, but other people who happen to be a different colour to them, driving the flash cars. They wanted some of that. I think Chris came into our community meaning well, but I think he was ill-advised and I think he was naive.
Okay. Peter.
To have any black person, to have any relevance to a black community, they must know and understand racism.
I wasn't speaking to a black community. I was not speaking.
I didn't interrupt you, so you do not interrupt me. Thank you. As far as this is concerned, you must know that because the unemployment rate for black youngsters is twice as high as it is for white youngsters, even in a deprived inner city area. You're 4 times as likely to be stopped and searched by the police than white youth. So please, you must have, and there is not another way round the problem for black youth who are in that environment. And therefore, role models must be teachers, they must be the social workers, they must be the doctors, but they must also be the 9-to-5s, the carpenters, the electricians, etc., the nurses, people who, without their work, you would not be standing where you are. Who makes your clothes? Who goes to wash your body?
Let me supplement that.
When you put that into a youngster's mind, yeah, that he is discriminated against, and once you tell him to accept that fact is, hold on. By society, see, that once you say that, you're causing uproar. You're causing us to stay that refuse to see it. You must refuse to say it.
No, okay, let me go to you. Williams?
Yeah, D.
You're a young fellow from Mossad.
I grew up there. And the thing, when you arrived, everybody thought, why? That was the first thing. You came down, and all due respect, you're a great boxer. Nobody denies you that, and you do it for the money because nobody wants to get their brains beaten out by that. But the fact of the matter is, you came and you done nothing. You came there, you didn't even think of it yourself. I thought you did come down to Mossad, to my hometown. I thought you did it off your own bat. But you didn't. It was some paper person that says, hey, why don't you just go down? You're doing us a favour, or you're just doing us a joke?
No, there's no.
It was a PR. That's what I feel it was.
Okay.
I can understand that.
This is Mossad itself. This is a young fellow, and he's coming at you. What say you to him?
I mean, you're obviously thinking for yourself now, yeah?
I'm thinking for me and my people at home.
Okay, all right, hold on. Okay. Whatever put you into that, whatever gave you, did you ever come to one of the training sessions?
I'm sorry, I was busy, I was doing training.
No, well, if you would have come, then you would have had more of a platform to stand on here and now. What I done was only constructive. I mean, okay, let's say it was a publicity stunt, yeah? Let's say just to get the publicity for myself, okay. If you would have come and heard what I said, which was the same thing that your parents says, let's say it was for publicity, then it was still good. Maybe you can begrudge me doing it for the publicity. Hold on. But you couldn't say anything against the words which were said. For the youngsters who did come along and for the people who did listen, the message was, what did I do? I gave a good mind. I gave of my good mind. That's all I could do. And that's what I did do. And
Are you convinced?
No,
what he said.
I was going to say that the people down there respect you for what you do. And you came down, and that was great. But what I was thinking, was that you're not a proper role model.
Why?
You'll never be a proper role
Why?
model. What you do, we can't do it. I couldn't get in a ring to do that.
Don't look at
Not
what
many people can do that.
But don't look at what I do. Listen to what I'm saying.
You're saying be good.
Yes.
Circumstance makes people do certain things.
Yes.
And for that reason alone, yeah?
And hold on, I say, without surrender, don't go the negative way.
Surrender, what have we got in my side?
No, I understand. One has to find their talent. One has to put their minds into something constructive. I understand that there is the alternative is next to nothing. I understand, but the other side of that is if you do go to the negative side, you're going to end up in jail. You're going to end up dead.
But there is no positive. The things that we need to do. Yeah, there was a training centre to do skills for the young lads around here, which I do, and then that place opened a month ago. There was a big celebration and all that, and actually thought, there's actually a skill and a trade for people to go local and do. It's being closed down in July.
Final question.
Hold on.
Training centre, that's being pulled down.
Okay, it was
There's
withdrawn.
nothing in my side for us.
Okay, but that wasn't my fault.
Final question, Chris.
Carry on.
The issue face everybody tonight. The question that faces you, which people have put to you clearly, this question of your attitude to money. Have you changed your mind?
No, without surrender. Okay. Why? Because money is freedom. If I want to be free, right, I must have money. I will not steal that money. I will not take it from anyone. I will not take it from anyone. I will do what I will do what is legal and what I'm best at to get that money. Okay, if I wasn't good enough, if I wasn't good enough to get where I am, then I would have lived off the amount what I did. I would have made do with the amount of money I had made. Now, okay, hold on. Let me carry on to say.
Last sentence, Chris.
Money is freedom. Money is freedom, and I want freedom.
Okay. Is Chris Eubank the role model that Moss Side needs? You have heard the evidence. I have heard the evidence. You may already have reached a view. In a moment, you will hear mine. For now, thank you, Chris Eubank, for coming, and thank all of you for joining me.
The devil's advocate has finished his examination. In a moment, his judgment.
Chris Eubank's approach to the people of Moss Side was clumsy and naive, yet he was clearly sincere in his message. Above all, as several Moss Siders put it, he was there and others of his stature were not. In the final analysis, the devil's advocate believes that Chris Eubank, despite his faults, is a fitting role model, though not the only one, for the young people of Moss Side and elsewhere.